So first of all, I would like to thank you all for coming to this talk today. The name of the talk is Po slovensko, prosim, which would literally translate to in Slovene, please. So I'm going to go through the agenda for today so that y'all can know what we're up to. First of all, the first topic, we're going to learn some basic Slovene phrases. So if you ever travel to Slovenia, you can start speaking in Slovene, say some things. And just so you know, if you ever travel to Slovenia, we really appreciate when a foreigner tries to say something in Slovene. So everybody will be thrilled if you do so. The second topic we'll see, it will be zanimivosti o slovenščini. So basically some fun facts about Slovene language and Slovenia. And the third topic, kako naj nadaljujem z učenjem slovenščine. So I will give you some tips and some tools on how to continue learning Slovene, even so after the Polyglot gathering, and yes, some websites, some Instagram accounts you should follow to check out and to learn more. Okay, gremo naprej. So let's start. So first of all, I would like to start with abeceda, so our alphabet, and some simple rules on the pronunciation. So if you were listening to me right now saying those few phrases I've said already in Slovene, so po slovensko, prosim, živjo, kako si, we can set up a really basic and simple rule on the pronunciation in Slovene, which would be one letter, one sound. Okay. For an example here, if I read the title of this slide, abeceda, you can hear that I really pronounce every single letter that is there. So this is our alphabet here. We have 25 letters, and I have put in bold the letters that are usually a bit harder for some foreigners to understand. But if you speak any other Slavic languages, it shouldn't be too hard. So I will just say these bold ones, and I will give you some examples. And if you ever wish to know more about this, you can go on my website that you can see here at the bottom. I have an article about the alphabet, about the pronunciation, so you can already learn 25 words in Slovene that are really easy because they're kind of international. So it's a good way to start a new language. So C, center, Č, čokolada, J, yogurt, S, sandwich, Š, šport, Z, zebra, Ž, žirafa. Okay, so if you listen again one more time, you will really see that I would pronounce every single letter we write down just as it is. So, center, chocolada, yogurt, sandwich, sport, zebra, girafa. So these are like super simple words that I'm sure you know the meaning of them. And maybe just an information on those letters that kind of look the same, but they're not. So C, Ch, S, Sh, and Z, J, we actually do not consider this as an accent, but an actual different letter, okay? So this thing on C, Sh, and Z, we call it strešica, which would literally translate to tiny roof, because it looks like a weird roof on it. So, and this you can see as well in my name. So ja sem Urška. So we would write it with sh letter because we pronounce sh. Okay. So yeah, this is the first thing on the pronunciation. You will see along the way when I will be pronouncing some phrases in Slovene that I would really pronounce each letter. Now, maybe for those who speak Serbian or Croatian, we do not really follow the same rule as they do. So the rule of piši kao što govoriš, but sometimes we tend to write a bit differently than we say, but it's really rare and it's mostly in the dialects, okay? But what we're going to see today is more of a standardized Slovene, so it will be more like a clear pronunciation. Some basic phrases in Slovene. Živjo, živjo. So živjo means hi. So it's something I would use in an informal situation to say hi to my friends, family, so anybody that I know. Živjo. Kako si? So how are you? Kako si? Dobro, good, slabo, not that good. So this is already something you can say to a friend who is a Slovene. You just ask him, živjo, kako si? Dobro, slabo. And then in a more formal situation, and this is something as well that somebody of our guests here today say when they enter the Zoom, dober dan. Dober dan would literally translate to good day. And it's something that we use basically throughout the whole day. Okay, so whenever you go to a post office, to a bank, to a store, or whatever in Slovenia, you do not people, you would just say dober dan. Okay, so good day, dober dan. Now, to be really honest with you, on a day-to-day use, we don't even say dober dan, we just say dan. So this is enough. So you enter a post office in Slovenia and you say dan. Okay. Now, again, when I address a group of people and I want to check on how they feel today, so for example, you guys, I can say, dober dan, kako ste? Kako ste? So, kako ste is the same as kako si, so how are you? But for a group of people, or if, for an example, again, in a formal situation, when I address one person that I do not know, or we use it as well to address older people. So it's a bit like to show some respect. Okay, so we would use kako ste. Okay. So I'm just going to read it one more time so that you can pay attention on the pronunciation. So, živjo, dober dan, kako ste? Dobro, slabo. Okay, so I would like to encourage you guys as well to maybe repeat after me at home or to write some things in the chat, some phrases that we're going to see along this presentation, because we all know it helps to repeat stuff, to write down stuff. So don't be shy, okay? Okay, gremo naprej. So some basic verbs, some basic phrases to present ourselves in Slovene. So I'm going to read my presentation and I invite you all to write the same phrases in a chat presenting yourselves. Okay? Okay, let's go. Jaz sem Urša iz Slovenije. So jaz sem, I am. The first thing to remember in Slovene, jaz sem. I am. So jaz sem Urša iz Slovenije. Is translates to from. And then Slovenia, I can change this with any other country. So jaz sem Urša iz Italije. Jaz sem Urša iz Rusije. Jaz sem Urša iz Francije. Okay, so this is so for the Slavic language speakers, you know that we decline as all other Slavic languages as well. So this Slovenia would go to is Slovenije. So basically every country that ends with an A would go to an E. So is Slovenije. Okay, the second phrase. Stara sem 30. Stara sem 30. So this is something that we would use for women, okay? Stara sam. If for men, so men, they need to say star sam, to say the age, okay? So I am blah, blah, old, okay? So star, this is an adjective, would literally translate to old. And this is how we say about our age. So stara sam 30 for women, star sam 30 for men. Okay? All good? Yeah? Okay, let's continue. Živim v Ljubljani. Živim means I live. So I live in Ljubljana. Again, here we see that Ljubljana slightly changes at the end. So this is again because it's declined. Okay, so basically all the cities that we consider as a feminine would go from A to I. So živim v Lizboni. Živim v Moskvi. Okay, now all the cities that we consider masculine would go from a consonant to U. So for an example, živim v Londonu. Živim v Rimu. Okay, so an important thing here to remember is the verb živim. So I live. And then the last verb we're going to see here, it's govorim. So govorim angliško, slovensko, francosko in portugalsko. And then if you wish to say, I speak well, I don't speak this well, you can just use this word we have here, so dobro, and I can just say, dobro govorim angliško, slabo govorim nemško. So it's like a puzzle, okay? You can just put it all together. So again, I invite you to write these phrases in the chat, and then we can check them out later. The last part here would be how to say, so when we leave, how to say bye-bye in Slovene. So the most neutral one that you can use either in formal and informal situation would be addio. Addio. So this comes from an Italian, so I'm guessing it will be easier to remember. So addio, okay? And then a bit, I mean, quite more formal one would be nasvidenje. Nasvidenje. So nasvidenje would literally translate to until the next time we see. And this is really something that we do not use that much because it just sounds way more serious, okay? And now among your friends, your family, or even if you write an email in Slovene by the end of the week, you can just write lep vikend. So have a nice weekend. Lep vikend. Lep would literally translate to beautiful. So have a beautiful weekend. Okay, now to say thank you in Slovene, you say hvala, hvala. And to say please or you're welcome, you say prosim. Prosim. So this word, we will see it more in the next topic. And then to say yes and no, we would just say ja, ne. Okay, so ja, it's again a word we took from German, and we use it way more in Slovene as da. Da exists, but again, it just sounds kind of serious if you use it on a day-to-day basis. So we tend to use ja. So let's continue. Gremo v restauracijo. Okay, so in a restaurant in Slovenia, I think there is one thing you need to remember, and this is how to say I'd like. So I'd like in Slovene would be jaz bi. Okay, so you just go jaz bi, and then you find something on the menu and you just say it and you're good to go. So jaz bi always goes with the fourth case. So this is the 4 that I put next to it. What does that mean? That means that when we have feminine words, like you see in the second row, you would go from an A to an O. Okay, so for an example, we say kava, which means coffee. But then if you say it in a sentence, it should be kavo. So jaz bi kavo. Okay, jaz bi Coca-Cola. So I just put here like a Coke, an international word, so that you can see what actually happens. So jaz bi Coca-Cola. And then the fourth case is actually really, really simple, because the only change that happens in singular, it's with feminine words, but not with masculine or neutral. So this stays the same. So I say jaz bi sok, prosim. Jaz bi čaj, prosim. Sok means juice and chai means tea. Okay. Of course, there's other way how to say this, and sometimes we just say one tea, please. So we would say en chai, prosim. Okay, so you can just say jaz bi en chai or en chai, prosim. So this is this, and then we have jaz bi pivo. Pivo is beer, or jaz bi vino, prosim. Vino, wine. Okay. The same rule applies for food. So it's the same. Jaz bi zrezek, prosim. So zrezek, usually it's like a steak, like a piece of meat in a sauce. We usually eat steaks in a sauce in Slovenia. Or jaz bi golaš z gnocchi. Okay? And then again, if I have a feminine noun, it would go from an A to an O, like we say with the coffee, water, or Coca-Cola. So we say jaz bi juho, prosim. Juha is soup. Okay. And then if I, for example, I would like to have steak and something on a side, so I say jaz bi zrezek in polento, prosim, for an example. Okay. Okay, and then I just put you here some sweets as well. So probably two of the most famous Slovenian sweets. So one is gibanica and the other one is potica, which you can see here on the right hand side of the slide. So jaz bi gibanico, prosim. Jaz bi potico. Okay, or jaz bi čokoladno torto, prosim.
It's interesting because in Serbia, gibanica is not sweet. It's like a pie with cheese and it's salty and very fat.
Yeah, I mean, I know that some foreigners do think that our sweets are not that sweet, so it's not sweet because it's as well with cheese and apples, but we still consider it as a sweet. So
we
yeah.
don't put apples in Serbia, but thank you for sharing this.
It's really good, by the way. So if you ever get a chance to try it, I encourage you to do so. It's really good. Okay, so jaz bi kavo in gibanico, prosim. So you can just mix then whatever you wish to. And then at the end, we would say račun, prosim. So a check, please. Račun, prosim. And then usually the bartender would ask, ali boste plačali z gotovino ali s kartico. So with cash or with a credit card. Z gotovino, cash, kartica, credit card. So then I just say z gotovino, prosim, or s kartico, prosim. And maybe just so you know, it is not that common to give tips in Slovenia, so you just pay what you owe. Or if you're really nice, you can leave something, but it's not that common. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. So I have prepared for you guys a PDF, and I will share it right now in a chat. So it's a PDF with quite some useful phrases in Slovene. Basically, it covers everything you should need if you travel to Slovenia, and if you have any questions whatsoever with this document, with the pronunciation, you can just write me. You have my website here. I will give you my contact at the end, and you can just write me an email, and I can help you with understanding, pronouncing, or whatever else you might need. So I think I will share this at the end. When I will stop sharing, it will be easier. Okay, so this is it. Now, let's see some zanimivosti o slovenščini. So why I think it's really cool to learn Slovene and why you should start. So as you know, Slovene is one of the smallest Slavic languages, and it has approximately 2 million of native speakers. So 2 million living in Slovenia and another 400,000 around the world. It is a Slavic world at the crossroads of Germanic, Romance, and Hungarian languages. So in Slovene, when you will be learning Slovene, you will see that we took some stuff from German, some from Italian, and some from Hungarian as well. So let's just go real quick through this. So first of all, the German influence shows with how we say numbers in Slovene, which is quite different from any other Slavic languages because we would begin at the end and then go at the beginning. So for an example, 33, I would say 34, so 4 and 30. So for an example, if we just say again what we said for the H, imam 34 let. So we always start at the end, and then we go to the beginning. And then as well, German is quite, you can hear quite some words in our day-to-day language. In basically all the dialects in Slovenia. So for an example, the word frühstück would in Slovene be zajtrk, which means breakfast. Okay, so basically what we did, we took a German word, we mispronounced it, we write it our way, and now we just use it. So these words you would not find in a dictionary, so they are not part of the standardized Slovene, but it's something commonly used. Okay, so another example, štumfi. In Slovene, it would be nogavice for socks. Okay, so štumfi. Or for an example, šrauf. Šrauf means screw. So everything related to tools, to cars and things like this, we would use German words. So if you ever go to mechanics in Slovenia, you would speak Slovene, but with a bunch of German words. And usually we don't even know what is a Slovenian word for something very specific when it comes to tools or a car. We just do not use them. And then as well, we took from German some day-to-day verbs like pucati, for to clean. In Slovene, it would be čistiti, or šparati, so to save money. And so this is as well something that we use basically all the time. And then from Italian language, we have some words that are today already standardized, like mancati, for to miss. I mean, it's just like an Italian origin. Or the verb misa for the table. So basically for all the Slavic speakers here in Slovenia, we say misa for the table and sto for the chair. So this is probably one of the most famous false friends with other Slavic languages. And then for an example, capirati, as in razumeti, so to understand, or magari. And then the most interesting thing when we learn Slovene is that we realize that we have a lot of dialects. So for example, here I'm mentioning Primorska. So I'm just going to show real quick here on a map. Primorska, it's basically this light pink part of the Slovenia, which is close to the Italian border. And basically in Primorska, when you hear people speak, they speak in Slovene, but with a bunch of Italian words in a sentence. So for an example, salsa for salsa, for sauce, or giro, cafetiera, nona, pupa, pomidor. So as you can see these are not Slavic words, these are from Italian, but they just use them on a day-to-day basis. And what I think it's one of the most interesting things with these people from Primorska is that the way they would say hours is quite different the way the rest of the Slovenia would say them. So they literally translated hours from Italian. So they say 3 in po, like 3 in mezza, And what we say, it's pol 4, so half to 4. So it's a completely different logic. And I know that when we meet with these people, sometimes we do have hard time to know, okay, what is the time? What time do we have to meet? Because we just say it so differently. So this is really fun to, well, to to see and to try to understand. And then here in the head of our chicken, so the yellow part of our country, there is a bit more of a Hungarian influence. So Hungarian influence is for sure more regional. So I just gave you here some words that comes from a Hungarian language in Slovene. Okay, so as I mentioned before, Slovenia has many dialects, and on this map, basically the bold colors you can see are different groups of dialects, which are later on divided into other subcategories. So we think we have more than 30, but some linguists say we have more than 50. So we do not really have the exact number. And some of these dialects are quite different. So for example, I'm coming here from the center of Slovenia, and if I speak to somebody from this yellow part, I would not understand a thing they're saying if they would be speaking with, for example, friends, family, neighbors, and things like this. And then so we have as well some differences on pronunciation. So for example, this red part, they would not say r the way we say it, but they would say r like in German. So for example, this region, it's called Koroška, but they would say Koroška. So again, if we listen to their TV shows or things like this, it's quite different. And sometimes we, of course, I mean, some people would even find it funny. So this is always what is really interesting when you come to Slovenia, because you travel for 2 hours and you're like in a completely different dialect, in a completely different world, and you might not understand even the easiest things. So just a fun example as well is, for example, a word for krompir, which means potato. So we have apparently more than 20 words to say krompir. Again, it's something we use on a day-to-day basis. So krompir is basically our national dish. It goes with everything. So it makes sense that people call it differently around the country. Another fun thing with Slovene is the dual that we have. So dvojina in Slovene. So basically, if I say to a friend of mine, let's go, and it's just the two of us, I would say greva. But if it would be 3 or more, I would say gremo. Okay. So when it comes to this, it's just a bit more precise, but that just means that when you learn Slovene, you just need to learn a bit more conjugation, because we have singular, we have dual, and then we have plural. Then the numbers, as I mentioned already, we do follow the German logic when it comes to the numbers. So we would start at the end, 4 in 30. So this is for the tens. But then from 100 on, we start at the beginning, we go to the end, and then we go in the middle. So for an example, 100 for 100, ena in 20. So literally, I would say 101 and 20. Okay. And then last but not least, Slovenia is known for having really funny curse words. So when this is more of a joke nowadays, to be honest, but traditionally we would love to curse like a neighbor's garden or domestic animals or something like this. But nowadays, when like we're really angry or in a car, for example, it's usually the Serbo-Croatian curse words that comes to the rescue. So when you learn Slovene, you learn some Serbo-Croatian as well, for sure. This is something to, well, this is I guess, something interesting for polyglots. Okay, so now some tips and tools on how to continue learning Slovene. So first of all, I would like to invite you to my website, which is called Friends of Slovene, or Prijatelji Slovenščine. So as I said, I'm sharing some articles, some content, some pedagogical material there. My idea when I started learning Slovene in Slovenian communities around the world, I realized there is nothing you can find to learn Slovene on the internet. So basically, this is how I decided I would like to create something and share it with people. So it's basically, I'm really at the beginning of the creation and everything. So for now, there is not still a lot of a content, but my idea is to become TV Sangmund one day for Slovene. So we'll see. And then as well, I would like to invite you to my Instagram account. I do share some graphics on vocabulary, some fun facts on Slovene words and things like this. So follow me there. And as well on Spotify, I created a playlist of Slovene music. So if you ever wish to get to know more of Slovene, to learn, to listen to some music, you can find Friends of Slovene on Spotify, follow it and listen to Slovenian music. Another cool website for Slovene learners is Center Slovenščine za tujce, which is basically a department at the University of Ljubljana for Slovene as a foreign language. So they do organize summer courses in Slovenia, and they have a lot of games to practice, to learn, and it's a really nice website with a lot of options. So I really recommend you to go there and, well, try to learn some Slovene. I have here as well some other IG accounts, so you can just maybe take a screenshot if you wish to follow them. Some of them are more for foreigners, the others are more for somebody that speaks already Slovene, but all of them are really nice to follow. For sure, you will learn something new. And then another tool that I found, it's rtv.si poševnica enostavno, which is basically our main media in Slovene. And they have part of their articles, they kind of write them in an easy Slovene for somebody who has trouble reading. And so it's a great tool for foreigners as well, because the articles are really short, the sentences are easy, and you can even slow listen to these articles. So it's good as well to practice your pronunciation and to follow a text while you listen to it. And then another good news is that Duolingo for Slovene should be ready soon. We're supposed to start working on it this year, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm thinking in a year or two it should be available for everybody. Okay, so this is it for today. So najlepša hvala in lep vikend še naprej. So have a nice weekend. And now it's time for questions. Vprašanja. So I will try to get to the chat right now. So
okay, I found another German word when I checked this. In Slovenia, we don't. So I found the word Zeit. It sounds German. So do you use also Serbian word like vreme for time? Like when you say time, or you just say like in German?
No, so time in Slovene would be čas to start with. So our word is čas. We do say Zeit, which comes from German. We do say, for example, instead of asking koliko je ura, so what time is it? Some people would say koliko je Zeit. So what is the time with the German word? But we never say vreme, because vreme for us means weather and weather only. So if I say kakšno je vreme, I'm actually asking about the weather.
Oh, okay. Because in Serbia, it can mean both. So when you say vreme, it can be time or weather.
Yeah. Well, in Slovene, no, it's just the weather. But thanks for the question. This was a really good question. Okay, so first of all, I will share now the file I have prepared for you, so you can download it, you can print it, you can use it, you can come to Slovenia and try to say some words in Slovene. So I'm sending it right now, and I will go through the questions now. And if anybody else wants to ask a question like this on Zoom as well as possible. So first question, what's the difference between Z and S? Okay. So I will just say some words with s, so it's starting with an S and then with z, with the Z, and maybe you will be able to hear the difference. So with s, so Slovenia, sandwich, sonce. Okay, so s, it's an S, like in English, sandwich. It's the same sound. Z we would use for an example, zebra, zelo. So it's like in English as well, zebra. It's basically the same sound. Zelo, zebeme, zdravilo. Okay, so s, z. Okay, so hopefully you were able to hear the difference. Now the question from Remy. So isn't it z that means from and s with? In Slovene, actually is would be from, and s or z can mean with, but then it depends on the letter that follows. Okay, so for an example, I would say grem z Uršo. So I'm going with Urša, grem z Uršo. So I would say z because it's you that follows. But if I say grem Suzano, because it's an S that follows, I would say S. Okay, so basically how we learn this, we need to learn it by heart. There is a sentence that we learn in school. So with this consonants, you need to use z, and with this, you need to use s, but it's actually linked to the pronunciation. So what it's easier to pronounce. And so since we don't have the tendency to make a stop, so grem z Uršo, but we'll link it all together, grem z Uršo, it's easier to say Zuršo than Suršo. I would need to Suršo. It's not that natural for us. So basically this is the reason. Okay, how do you say I am from Slovakia in Slovene? Yes, so I say ja sem iz Slovaške. Okay, so for us, Slovenia is Slovenia, Slovaška is Slovakia. And then when it comes to languages, for us, so we say as well, govorim slovensko, and I know that this is the same in Slovakia, but for us, if somebody speaks Slovak, we would say govorim slovaško. So slovensko, slovaško. So it's really close. So now maybe Juliana's comment on the false friends and parallels. Sometimes, for an example, when I see some words from Russian or any other Slavic languages, sometimes for example, what they would use today for us feels archaic. And I know there are like some stuff in Russian that we still say, and for them it's something from the 15th century. So for sure there can be like studying different Slavic languages can be real fun, because, or sometimes in Slovene, something would be like very very serious, but in Russia or in Poland, you just said a word they would use on a daily basis. So this is always fun. But for sure, knowing any other Slavic languages can help you a lot as well with Slovene. Well, everything, grammar and vocabulary and everything. Does Slovene has any influence from Spanish? No, no, not really. It has it from Italian because it's so close, because we have the same border, and so due to some historical reasons as well, there was way more connection between Italy and Slovenia, but there was none with Spain, so we don't really have any Spanish influence. Do you know why Slovene choose the Latin alphabet and not Cyrillic? So as far as I know, this is mostly linked to the religion and the fact that Slovenia is a Catholic country. We do use as well a Latin alphabet. I do know that, those letters we've seen at the beginning, ch, sh, and zh, the inspiration was a Czech alphabet. I don't know exactly it was 14th century, if I'm not mistaken. So we kind of took inspiration from the Czech back then, and we adapted it to our needs, to our sounds. But yeah, basically why we use Latin alphabet, it's because because the country is considered a Catholic country. So this is, for an example, maybe Susanna can say a word about it as well. But this is as well in the Balkans. You can see countries that use Latin alphabet usually are Catholic, and those who use Cyrillic usually are Orthodox. So it's kind of like you can see with the alphabet already where we at.
Yeah, but the Greeks are also Orthodox partly, but they also have their own letters, which is not Cyrillic nor is Latin, but like it's something different, you know. They invented the new letters. But yeah, I mean, I know for Russians, they are Orthodox and they use also Cyrillic. In fact, they were the first one who came to teach us, actually, to give us some kind of education. And thanks to them, we got also like those letters. So
yeah,
I'm not sure for other countries, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm just saying here, for example, Slovenia, Croatia, it's
no, actually Cyrillic alphabet was invented in Ohrid by Saint Clement. Yeah, Saint Clement. They Saint Clement and Saint I forgot the other guy, and they were students from Cyril and Methodius, and because of that.
Yeah, but in Serbia we had two Russian teachers, right, as far as I know, and they gave us a lot of education. That's what I'm trying to say also.
Okay, so I will just go to the last question from Michael. So which Slovene popular singers can you recommend for listening practice? Wow, that's a harder question than it seems, because I think it really depends on the music that you like. But for an example, I can maybe write some of the singers here. You can look for them. Now, maybe just another thing, as I said, Slovene is not too present on the internet, on social media and stuff. So maybe if you have Spotify, Deezer, I don't know, you might not be able to find a lot of Slovenian singers. So usually YouTube is the way to go to really find them more. So yeah, just so you know, if you look for stuff, you do not find them, it's not because it doesn't exist, it's just that we're really not present. So I'm just gonna put some names here and you can look for them later. So Andrej Šifrer, what else? Adi Smolar, maybe these are kind of like more like old school, maybe. I don't know, Tanya Žagar. I'm just putting out some names now. And as well, I really do recommend you to check out my playlist and find some inspiration there as well. I will try to find some more for you guys so that later on you can look for them. And if anybody else knows any good Slovenian band, please write it down as well. Then maybe Bigfoot Mama. This is more like rock kind of thing. Shankruk. What else? Okay, you have 5 of them, maybe traditional. Yeah, so our traditional music, it's kind of polka-like. So this would be Ausenik, Lojze Slak, what else? These are the most 2 famous one, Ausenik and Lojze Slak. Again, if you go on YouTube, then probably it will give you some other recommendations, so you can for sure do this. I don't know that much our traditional music, to be honest, but yeah, it's kind of like polka, what you can hear basically in the whole Alpine region. Okay, so I think this is it for today. Thank you very much for the nice comments. Najlepša hvala for coming here. It was really a pleasure to talk a bit about my mother tongue. And yes, please write me, find me on the social media, Friends of Slovene, so we can talk more. If you have any questions whatsoever regarding Slovene, I will be more than happy to answer, to help you, to share some more singers, movies, and things with you guys. So do not hesitate to contact me again. Thank you very much. Najlepša hvala in lep vikend še naprej.